I appreciate it. It's an important conversation. This week, the country is once again reeling from a school shooting, this time in Nashville. According to the Gun Violence Archive, there have been 131 mass shootings so far this year. As we sit here, we're not live, so that number could increase by the time that this gets uploaded and onto YouTube. This is a problem that affects every community in the country. What is Congress doing immediately to stop this mass shooting cycle?
Well, we have passed an assault weapons ban. The House did in the last term, and it did not pass the Senate. Otherwise, we would have a ban on assault weapons. This Congress needs to take up that ban and pass it. I also think that we've got to go a step further and get these weapons out of our country. And that would, I think, involve authorizing the administration, maybe the Defense Department, to buy these guns that are already out there, weapons, and give them to the military where they belong.
What's the response to that, to your proposal here?
Well, back home, I can tell you that for most folks, Republican, Democrat, Independent, particularly if, like me, you've got young kids. My wife and I have an 11-year-old and a 13-year-old, and we want these weapons banned. We want them out of our communities. And, I do believe, and I think the polling reflects this, that it's a bipartisan issue. Now, unfortunately, we don't have enough Republicans in Congress who feel the same way. Though there are some who want to ban these weapons and keep our children safe. We know, because we've done this before. We've had an assault weapons ban. That it does save lives. That the number of shootings, the number of victims, that number goes down. So we know the ban works, but I also think now that we have 20 million assault weapons in this country, the ban has to be accompanied by some sort of effort to get these guns out of our communities and to the military where they belong. They're military weapons, and either we use them or we give them to folks like the Ukrainians to use in defending themselves and their democracy. There are good uses for these weapons, but we continue down this path. We're going to continue to see more and more, and it's not just see. I think certainly as parents, we experience these shootings in just the most horrific ways. Because if you're like me, you can't not think about what would happen if it were your child. And so I think about my son, who's 11. His name's Elijah. He's in 5th grade this year, in elementary school. This was an elementary school. Last year he was in 4th grade, and Uvalde, that was all 4th graders. And it's hard not to imagine or play out the scenario where you get the phone call, you rush to the school, and then you have to identify your child's body. And it's probably hard to identify their bodies because these weapons shred the body. These children are being shredded by this weapon, and I suspect that it's probably the clothes that they were wearing, which is what helps authorities and parents identify them. And I do believe that whether it's in this Congress or the next, we're going to get rid of these weapons and get them out of our country. We have to.